James is, I adore James. He's one of the most intelligent, funniest guys I've ever met. He's very self-deprecating. He's very well read. It's funny because half the time I have to ask him, what does that mean? What does that mean, James? Can you explain yourself? Because he has this vocabulary that is way beyond my scope of English. But he's just lovely. He's a very good actor. I've been, fortunate to be able to work off of him. I'm sure that he has brought out better work from myself than I would maybe just acting on my own. He's a bit of a klutz. And, he's the kind of guy that will get out of the van on the way to set, and his hat will fall off, and then he'll bend over to get his hat, and his backpack will fall off and hit him in the head. And, he'll trip over anything. And but he's very passionate, very focused on his work, and he's wonderful. He's got two cute little boys. That one, he knows me, Joshua. And he'll see me on screen and he'll be like, Tricia. But he has yet, in 4 years, to smile at me when I see him in person. He looks at me like this and goes, and I'm sure he doesn't watch all the TV, but he knows enough, and he knows something like, my dad's with you, but my mom's there. But I don't like you. So, but James is lovely. Yes? Thank you.
Are you a fan of the show, or did Dave approach you? How did that come about?
It actually came about, I was doing some general meetings in Los Angeles, and my manager set me up to meet Eric Kirky. And it stemmed from that. I had a really great meeting with Eric, and about a month later I had an offer to do the role. And I was very surprised when I saw it, that it was such a, I was practically in every scene. And they really, I think they kind of wrote it with me in mind. And so it was nice to see that they wrote stuff that challenged me and had me do different things than on Battlestar. That was a difficult shoot, because it was mid-January in Vancouver, pouring rain. It was right at freezing. So if it was a degree or two above freezing, it was pouring rain. If it was a degree or two below, then it was snowing. And of course, you're in a t-shirt, this light jacket. The boys, of course, are in Jensen and Jared are in coats and all this stuff. And you just had to go with it after a while. And we were doing night shoots, so we were, I was getting home at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning. But they were great. The whole crew was wonderful. And the boys, everyone on the set calls them the boys, so that's all I have to, that's what I call them now, the boys. And they're so much younger than me that they do feel like boys. I said to my husband, I'm like, here I am working with these two really handsome guys, and all I can think of is how old I am. They're boys. Anyway, they were very sweet, and it was a good experience. Yes?
How did you get the role of number 6? What did you think about being on a science fiction show?
I got the role just by the normal audition process. I was brand new to LA. I'd been working for a year. I moved out to LA, and I actually was brought in right to the producers on my first audition, because I had done an episode of CSI, and it was the same casting directors. So they had cast me on CSI, and they liked the work that I did, and so they brought me in to meet the producers. But it wasn't until 2 months later that I actually got the job, and had gone in again to meet the producers, gone in again for a work session, and then gone in for the studio test. And studio tests are very difficult. I've said this before, so some of you may have heard, but you get there and there's 6 or 7 girls, and there's 5 or 6 guys, and you all have to sign contracts, and everybody has their own thing. One girl is trying to psych everyone else out by being very talkative, and I can't believe I'm getting this much money if I get the show, and all this, just silly stuff. And then some girls are shaking and one guy is laying in the hallway with his feet off and his feet up against the wall. So it's a real mental challenge, you know, to go in. And I was the first girl in, and then I had to wait for all the rest of the girls, and then all the rest of the guys. And then they come out and they dismiss 2 of the girls and 1 of the guys. And then they start pairing you up, and you go in once or twice with different guys. And James and I were the last to go in. And I just remember going, you know, it was supposed to be a sexy role, so all the other women are in high heels and, you know, whatever, and I'm so tall, I was in flat feet, you know, flat shoes. And I just remember I'm so much taller than James, and he's looking at me, and I'm looking at him. And I don't even remember what I did in the room. All I remember is going, I'm not getting it. They saw how tall I was. I'm not getting it. And James says he remembers when we finished, he heard from the back of the room, because you've got about 20 people in the room. And, you know, you don't have props. You're not there. You're literally at the end of a conference table, you know, squished into about 4 feet before the wall. And he remembers hearing somebody go, "That's it." I'm like, I didn't hear that. All I know is I left there, and I was starving, because we got there at like 8 in the morning, and we didn't leave till about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I went straight to Bristol Farms, which is a grocery store, and got comfort food. I got mashed potatoes and donuts. And I sat in the car, in the parking lot, eating mashed potatoes and donuts. And my manager calls me, he's like, "How was it?" I'm like, "I'm not getting it." He's like, "What are you doing?" "I'm eating mashed potatoes and donuts in my car." Yeah, so I just got it through the I can be long-winded, I'm sorry. That's how I got the show.